We're live. How are we, boys? This is the men and women's State of Origin talk with some very special journos with me. I've got WobblinJawSports, Wardy, Macca, Clancy, and Borrow, boys. How are we all?
Good, thanks, Dor. How are you?
Very good, mate.
Dor?
Oh, mate, I'm absolutely stoked and ready for tomorrow night. How about yourselves?
Can't fucking wait.
Dor, it's like Christmas for us. It's the best day of the year.
Yep, state versus state, mate versus mate. Can't ask for much more, can you, boys? But no, look, let's get into it first. Obviously, the game's being played tomorrow night at Allianz Stadium, 8:05 kickoff Queensland time. Look, $2.02. The Blues, the Maroons are actually favourites, boys. $1.82 on Sportsbet. Don't like it, Macca?
Hate it. I hate that we're not an underdog. I hate that we're favourite. I just want to be. I don't want to be the favourite because it just feels like we're not going to win like that.
Anyone else got some thoughts on the odds?
Boys, they're trying to scare us. We're the underdogs always.
Yeah.
Trying to take our tag. We're in Sydney. We're coming for the ambush. I don't care if we're favourites. We're ambushing.
Yeah,
the Blues have actually picked a good team this year, which hasn't happened in about 40 years. Yeah. It's concerning.
And they have a competent coach as well. They don't have Fittler running the show, which is automatically makes them a better team.
I was actually thinking, would you rather have a gun centre or a gun coach?
Gun coach, for sure.
Yeah, so basically right now the Blues have Blake Laurie in the centres. They did previously, so he's been switched out, which is a shame.
Cormac, Sam, you got any thoughts? Just about the odds?
Yeah, I'm with Macca there. I thought maybe it'd be a little bit more even, but it's all right, man. It's all right. Play on.
Cormac, anything?
We're the away team. There's going to be 85,000, 83,000, however many Blues fans there. So I don't really buy into the favoritism thing too much. And they've picked the best team they have in a few years. So
yeah,
I thought
once Munster pulled out, I thought it'd be close to even. But yeah, there you go. Especially when they're at home.
Well, the thing is, we're like $1.60 something to win the series.
Yeah,
so we're much shorter for the overall 3 games, which is really short.
Yeah.
Look, boys. Speaking of betting, what are we all thinking for our first try scorer for game 1? Sam, you want to go first?
All right. Okay. Alrighty. So I've got a little bit of a narrative for you. So Queensland have scored the first try in 5 straight games now. So now that I've revealed that stat, obviously it's going to go against the grain. It's going to make me look like a dickhead. So therefore, Captain Jake Trbojevic at $91. You put $10 on that, you get $910 back. I'm going Jake Trbojevic as the first try scorer for New South Wales, and that will be just about the only one or maybe one of 2 tries that the Blues score compared to our, half a dozen.
$91 for a starting. He's starting, isn't
he? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, $91 for a starting player. I can get behind that. Even if it's $1 or $2, why not?
Why not? Yeah. Wardy, what are you thinking, mate?
Boys, I'm going to go with Sam here, and I'm going into the forwards. I feel like we've got an injured Hines who definitely will not be 100%, and I like the fact that he's going to be partnering Sully, and I think they are very weak on that edge. So I'm going to run with Jaden Sewer at $31. So slap that down, get a short ball to him. He's running straight over.
Like it. Wardy, what are you thinking, Macca?
I found a bit of value here. I reckon Jerome Luai at 31. I reckon he's just going to get a ball. He's going to dummy to Crichton, and then he'll go through on that side with Nene, who not our best defensive player. He's actually quite in Origin. He's actually been pretty good defensively, but I think they're going to target him. I think Luai will. I'm worried he might just go straight through and score. So him at $31 is pretty good value, I reckon.
Nice. I don't think so. Don't think so for Luai, but wish you all the best, brother. Clarence, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking in Sydney with those historically dewy ground, possibly going to be a bit wet on Wednesday or tomorrow night. And I think Queensland's the way to go with the first try scorer, just with the way New South Wales picked their team. I think they're going to really look to just work us at the start of the game and try in some field position rather than maybe swing it around a bit. So I agree with Wardy on our left edge with a short pass from Did, and maybe not Sewer, but maybe actually out to Val Holmes barging over for a early try, $14.
Yeah, rightio. Cormac?
Well, you've stole mine, so I'll think on my feet. I think it'll be down the left side, regardless. So I think it'll be my man Murray Taulagi. Is he playing left? You'd think him and Val will be next to each other, but I think Tommy Dearden will be running the ball a lot. He'll draw the man in, and then there'll be a bit of room out there for my man Murray.
Well, there's got to be a bit of an omen there, Boru, because you just were talking about your try score, and then a massive ding went off in the background there, man. So maybe you might be on track. And also down on the left, it's Taulagi and Hammer, and then it's going to be Holmes and Coates on the right-hand side.
Look, boys, I'm just going to be nice and simple. I'm going Reece Walsh at 12s. My man, the match for tomorrow night, I reckon. I think he's going to have a blinder. So yeah, that's going to be my bet. But look, let's get into the Blues team, shall we? Obviously, big talking point that we will discuss afterwards with Tedesco coming in at, what was it, on Sunday morning, he was announced into the team at fullback, and we've got To'o and Lomax on the wings, Crichton and Suali'i in the centres, Luai and Hines in the halves. Obviously, Hines is good to go after a lot of coaches and people were thinking that he might not make it, and they had obviously Burton and Keary in the squad as cover. Gerbo and Haas in the middles, Robson at hooker, Martin and Crichton are the second rowers with McInnes at lock. Isaiah Yeo is on the bench with Olakau'atu, Linu, and Hudson Young. Boys, what are we thinking on this Blues team? Would you personally have picked anyone else? Like, I know I personally would have had someone like Tyrrell May over Spencer Leniu. I can see why the Blues have gone down that path with Leniu. I thought he's been pretty decent since coming back. But what are your thoughts, Sam? You want to touch on it first?
Yeah, I'm right there with you with Spencer Leniu. How many games has he played? 2 or 3 games this year. Yeah, I'm with you on Spencer Leniu. For me personally, while you put in May, I would have put in Mitch Barnett. And then looking at the rest of the squad, look, there's not so many, but there are key injuries to a couple of different players. But the other one too, that if I was the coach, Madge Maguire, I personally would have put in Api Coruscant, whether it be starting or coming off the interchange as well, instead of Hudson Young there in jersey 17. So other than that, that's pretty much what I would have done as well. Obviously, I would have chosen Dylan Edwards over James Tedesco. But yeah, the changes that I would make to that side for the Blues would be Leniu and Young out, and I'd go Api Coruscant and Mitch Barnett in 16 and 17.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't mind that. I also forgot to say I wouldn't have picked Suoli. I would have had, I know he hasn't been the greatest form this year, but I would have definitely had
Trelly Mitt.
Yeah, Trelly Mitt with over Suoli in the centres. But anyway, that's enough for me. What are you thinking, Wardy, on that blue side?
Boys, I want to start by saying I'm very glad to see Lomax in there. The rumours early that he wasn't going to get picked and it was going to be Suoli on the wing, I thought was just outrageous for how Lomax has played on the wing this year. He's been the informed winger, in my opinion. For Sully, I'm the same. Wouldn't have him. I would have Staggs or Mitchell over him. Obviously, Staggs got the rib injuries. We don't know where that's at. But considering Mitchell has had up and down form, I see why they've gone against him, and it's completely fair. The Rabbits, he's their star, and he hasn't been playing well. The only other change I would have is I would have had Ola starting over Crichton. I see Crichton, yes, he's one of the best second rows, but with the bench they have, I think he's going to go play in the middle when Ola comes on. So I just see why not just have Ola start there straight away. But besides that, I'm a big fan. I think Barnett comes in game 2 or 3. I think he's been a star for the Warriors this year. I agree. Linu was a surprise, but he's the X factor for those guys he's going to annoy the shit out of us. He's going to be in our face. You just know he's going to be a Willie Mason from back in the early 2000s, just in your face aggressive. So I understand why they've got him there.
Nice, Woody. Yeah, I like those changes, mate. What are you thinking, Macca?
I actually really, really like the team they've picked. Spencer Leniu in particular, I think, is a great selection, even though he's only played a few games. In Origin, leg speed, quick play the balls, those kind of things are gold. And I think he can come in and provide that. I agree with Sam on the Mitch Barnett pick. I think he's been elite this year. I would have had him probably on the bench in place for, probably Hudson Young. And I'm with you on Latrell. Even though his form's been up and down, I just think in Origin, he can score those tries, set up those tries that a lot of other people can't. And he scares me to death. And I agree on Lomax. I think he was one of my first picks for the Blues. His work rate's elite. He's good in the air. Positional play is great. So I think overall their team's very scary, and I'm worried.
Very, very good points, Macca. What are you thinking? Clance?
I'm actually also a massive fan of the team they picked. I think that their go-to, the thing that they're going to go to the entire game is the work from their outside backs. And I think for that reason, picking dynamic forwards that aren't necessarily the biggest available, but can get quick play the balls and really go through the middle quickly, I reckon they're just going to be going off the back fence with their outside backs. And then third, fourth tackle, people like Leniu, Haas is massive, but he's dynamic as well. Olakau'atu, I think what they'll do is I reckon they'll put Olakau'atu onto the right edge after a little bit, take Liam Martin off, and then play Liam Martin through the middle, which I think is a really good plan as well. That's just my opinion what they'll do, but I think those forwards with good leg drive, quick feet are going to really, make us struggle when they've got guys like Suwali, To'o, Lomax, who's been eating up the meters this year as well. I think they're going to be pretty hard to handle. I probably would have picked Latrell Mitchell, honestly, maybe for Crichton, but it's I think their team's pretty good.
Nice, Nuge. Cormac, finish us off with the Blues thoughts, mate.
Yeah, I think you guys have covered most of it, but the one thing that the Blues have been saying all week is that if there's an injury in the backs, they'll be fine. But when you've got Matt Burton, who can literally play halves centre, you can chuck him anywhere in the back line, and even he's big enough to play sort of a roving lock.
Play fullback as well.
Yeah, you play in the middle probably as well.
When you have him as an option, I just don't see why you don't have him there, because if they lose a player and you got, I'm assuming Martin or Crichton would play centre against either Hamiso and Reece while sweeping around, we just can't.
Hudson Young, I think, been the one touted to go to that spot, who's apparently been training there with Canberra as well.
Mm. But still, I get where Connor's coming from. I feel like Burton would fill in there better. Yeah.
Yeah. If when you got someone like Burton who's in pretty good form this year, I think that might be a change, particularly if they lose, regardless of whether someone goes down who might slot in on the bench, and if it works for us with Cobbo, we will get to the Queensland spot.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think we should maybe touch on a few stats, Sammy Boy, before we go into the Queensland team. I should have done this earlier, but obviously forgot, so that's on me. But look, in 31 games, Origin games played at a core stadium. The Blues have won 20 of them. Queensland 10. So with one draw. So that's why I was thinking, like, that's why I was really surprised by the odds. They really think that the pundits really do think that we've got a stronger side than the Blues, which looking on paper, I don't really agree. I think it's very even.
Mm.
Any other stats you got for us, Sammy? You've already given us a couple, but
look, this is only going to be the third time since 2016 that the Blues have hosted a game one at a core stadium. They haven't defeated the Maroons in a game one in Sydney since I think it was 2015 or 2014. So we've got the wood on them in that aspect as well. But no, I think we've just about covered everything, mate.
Yeah.
Boys, I've got one
fair.
for Jakey Trbojevic as captain. He actually hasn't lost a game in Sydney in his last 4 games.
Oh, that $91, man. My first time try scorer. Oh,
I'm actually getting on that right now, Sam. You've convinced me. $1 on it before the odds drop.
I will give credit to the random stats guy. I've been following his stats for a while, and that's one that's popped up. I think that's a really good start. Just to any of those Jakey followers, he loves Sydney.
Yeah, don't you worry, people that are watching and all our followers. If Jakey goes over first, we will be definitely clipping this video. So, and WobblinJawSports will be shouting a few rounds for the boys, I think.
bloody oath I will be, yes.
But quickly, before we go on the Queensland team, obviously there's a fair few people in the chat, so I think we should go through some of the things here. There's obviously a bit of shit and giggles in the chat at the moment, but look, some are saying Cormac or Clancy, better bloke. What are we thinking, boys?
I'd say
That's
draw.
tough.
Draw? Yeah, I think so.
If I'm on par with Cormac, I'm happy with that.
That's very fair, very fair.
I'll go with you, Clancy.
I thought you
think,
I thought you were going to say
you got to make. You got to make a decision as well. You have to pick. You can't say even.
No, I'm going even as well. I'm not picking a side. Zachary is saying that he reckons there's no chance that Jake crosses over Sam. So look, we'll have to prove Zach wrong, and hopefully you go.
Zachary, there's some chance. Let's get that.
Clearly, yeah. I think you'll find it's probably about an 88 to 1 chance if they give us $91. So,
Although he did say Angus first try scorer, which I also like.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, Angus first try scorer. That's not a bad shout, Zachary. Obviously, a bit of all of us, I think, bar Sam, play Supercoach or fantasy of some point. What are we thinking as Walsh as a sell? I'd honestly hold, see what happens through Origin on tomorrow night, and then reassess. There is obviously a high chance that he could be rested due to, obviously, I think he's got a bit of a niggle in his knee. But yeah, do you guys agree? Hold Walsh for now?
Yeah, at least until tomorrow. You might even get injured in the game, so just wait and see. Touch wood though.
All right. Yeah.
Cheers.
What else? There's a hypothetical here from Corliss is saying, does Kieran Holland make the 2020 Queensland side if he was eligible?
Yeah, he'd make it. He's probably captain as well.
Holy.
What are you thinking, Sam? Go on, you surely got more than Holly?
Haven't thought about him in about 3 years, mate. Next question.
Have you thought about Dynamis Louis recently?
Actually, me and Mick were talking about him.
Yeah, he does play for the Dolphins as well, which is a bit in the area. But my point.
What about Corey Allen?
Corey Allen?
Oh,
yeah,
all-time great.
He's
overseas.
No,
He
got injured at the start of the season, didn't he?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I thought he got
his ACL or something.
Yeah.
He's with the Dragons.
Yeah. Full Corey.
Got another question. Sorry, Sam, just with Fantasy Supercoach saying hold Sean Lane for this round or sell right now. If I do sell, I have 413K in the bank. What are we thinking?
I'd probably sell him, huh? I'd sell him.
Yeah, someone like Brendan Hands or someone like that, if you've got good edge coverage, or potentially maybe take a little punt on Kelma Tuolangi.
Yeah, Kelma, I reckon, is a good buy.
Or try and upgrade to someone like a Preston or someone along those lines. What else have we got? Definitely save the trades. Heimel Hunt, a big admission from Bowler. Is Heimel Hunt? Is he still playing New South Wales Cup? Or I haven't seen Heimel Hunt's name in years.
The NCOB.
Yeah, NCOB. Yeah. Dude, checking now. While Macca checks, question for you, Cormac. Why is Pat Kelly on the front page of the paper?
I read that. I don't know what you're talking about, Cooper. Sorry, mate. It's been about 3 years since I worked there.
Again, Bowler agreed with your takes. Mick Jones is saying, does Appy deserve a jersey? I think, Sam, you touched on it. You thought that Appy deserved a jersey. Why do you think he deserved a jersey, mate?
Top three. Hooker playing in the worst team in the competition, just about. I think maybe he might have missed. I don't buy into the theory or the rumors that Michael Maguire just wanted to piss off the West Tigers and not choose Appy. But I think Appy was a little bit injured, I think, over the past 10 days or so. So, I would have chosen Appy.
I think it's just the style the Blues are trying to play. I think they've gone for a runner, like a quick player out of dummy half who can defend, just to get off the back of their back five, and they're done.
And also having McInnes there. If Robson's like gas or if he gets hurt, I have McInnes who can play hooker pretty well. So
Robson does it easy.
Robson does do Eddie, but just in case.
They're a bit short on kickers. Like Nico Luai, Luai's not a bad kicker, and Nico is good, but like having Appy at a dummy half, like Reece Robson doesn't kick. He'll run the ball and he'll make 60 tackles, but having the crafty Appy and someone who can, like Ben Hunt will do for us, maybe snag a 40-20 or when you're in trouble, stuck in your own end, sort of drop one down. But because I think we're going to pressure Nico fairly hard if he's getting most of the kicking team. He's no Cleary, but Robson's obviously he's a great player as well. He's just going to he'll just run for 80 minutes if he makes it that far. But I would have been more scared with Appy, I think.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Reds or Chiefs, boys, on Friday night? Surely all the Reds. Up the mighty
Hopefully.
Reds. Go Reds.
Yeah, up the Reds. Who would win a fight, boys? A cockroach or a toad?
Oh, toad. It's a frog, basically.
Yeah. Surely it just gobbles it up.
It eats.
Has a nuclear bomb just gone off? Go consider that, because a cockroach would survive. I don't know if the toad would.
Yeah, but one on one, Mac. It's not.
It's not post-apocalyptic one.
Question for you, Nuge. How do you go netball tonight?
We won quite easily tonight.
How did you go, mate? How did you go?
I had a pretty good night. A few fadeaways, which was nice.
That's what we like to hear.
Yeah, playing goal attack. So
special, brother. Who's a better athlete? A Flight in June or Joseph Suoli'i?
That's
by Cordless. That's from Cordless, so I don't get it either.
Did you say a flight in June?
Flight in June.
That's what it says. Flight in June. I assume.
Mm-hmm.
Cordless, you're gonna have to bloody fix that up,
Funny man. Yeah.
But I think that's it. That's really it for bloody most of the questions. The others are, apart from Mick, maybe who's the worst Origin player ever before we go into Queensland?
Dave
Taylor.
Taylor.
Dave Taylor.
Oh, I've got one.
Yeah. One game he's like sold it for us. I still haven't forgiven him.
Mate, he was a beast.
TPJ.
Do you mean the worst player to ever play Origin, or the worst who has had the worst performance in Origin?
Jamie Buer.
Whoa.
I can't believe he ever got picked.
I think that 2020 side was genuinely the worst side in history, and they won. And some of them
Branko Lee.
would have not played in any other year.
Branko Lee would
No.
not even get considered now. Like
No.
that's crazy.
He
All
would
right,
be
boys.
nowhere.
Half that team wouldn't get considered.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's why it's the
probably
best
not.
ever.
It is. It is. All right, boys, let's get on to the Maroons, right? So we got Walshy at fullback. We got Coates and Tuolagi on the wing. Holmes and the Hammer in the centres. Dearden and DCE in the halves. Cotter and Collins are the locks. Hunt is the hooker. Sewer and Nanai in the back row with Carrigan at lock. We've got Harry Grant on the bench. Mo Fodawaker, Hopgood and Selwyn Cobbo, boys. Firstly, I'll give my thoughts on the team. I personally probably would have had just the one change. I'd probably actually two changes. Actually, I'd have David Fafita on the bench for Cobbo, and then I know Murray's done well for Queensland in the past, but I'd have Cobbo on the wing over Tulagi. Or Tulagi, however you pronounce it. Just because I thought Cobbo's had a really good year. Nothing against Murray. I'm sure he's going to absolutely kill it tomorrow night. But I just think that Cobbo has been really good and Murray has just returned from injury. So that'd be my two changes. And I think if we lose tomorrow night, I think that Fafita will definitely be in for game 2. So if you're looking at buying him for fantasy, if we lose, I'd probably be holding off. But anyway, Sam, what are your thoughts for that Maroon side?
Yeah, I think a couple of our Cowboys can probably consider themselves lucky that they were selected, i.e. Jeremiah Nene and Motau Lungi. I did choose Kofusi to start over Nene. But ultimately, I am happy with that. I think, even though we've got plenty of injuries ourselves, I'm down with what Billy Slater has chosen, even though I do think a couple of our Cowboys can consider themselves lucky that they were selected.
No, okay. No, I do agree with Murray, obviously, like I said. But yeah, Nanai, I thought he started to play a bit better the last few weeks. You obviously you were telling me different things, Sammy boy. I thought someone by the last name of Holmes. I thought you were didn't think that he deserved a jersey, mate, or his form has been a bit lackluster.
I don't think I said didn't deserve, man. But he's had a strange year, man. He's been very up and down, and I think Valentine Holmes even was quoted to say that he's grateful for Billy Slater choosing him anyway. So clearly Holmes was a little bit doubtful he was going to get selected anyway. But no, I didn't say that I didn't think he deserved it. But I do think, once again, he's another lucky Cowboy that got selected. But hey, I mean, this time last year, Cowboys, they went on an insane streak, and now they've won 3 in a row around this same time. So, yeah, hopefully the Origin rubs off on them.
Nah, yeah, sorry, mate. I worded that poorly for you. Apologise. I've done him dirty. I apologise. No problems, mate. Wardy, what are you thinking?
Boys, considering Murray came out on the weekend and said he wasn't Origin ready and that Cobbo should have been picked, I think was alarm bells that, like, Billy did pick him. Like, Cobbo, yes, he's been playing centre, but he's been in some unreal form this year. I just think we're going to miss his X factor on the field. I know Murray played out of his skin last year, and that's what Billy's going off. But for Cobbo, he should be in there. I understand the Dearden pick. He's been there before. Ezra's time will come. It's just a matter of just sitting behind Dearden like Dearden's done for Munster. The bench is a worry. I know they've gone Cobbo on the bench as a utility in case of HIA at the moment. But we've got a small bench with only Fodawaker and Hopgood to go on. Does Cobbo come in, play 10 minutes in the middle? I'm not sure. But we're going to have to get our boys, Cotter, Carrigan, they're going to have to play 70 minutes. So the bench is a worry, but I'm happy with how we've gone.
Macca, you're up,
Go,
mate.
Macca. Doors on mute.
I'm waiting for Doodle to add me in.
All right,
You good,
I'm
Dog?
back. Yeah, I'm good. Apologies. Computer was going low on battery. Thoughts, man?
Yeah, Dave Fafita, look, I would have picked him. I would have started him. I would have played him 80 minutes. I was shocked that he wasn't picked. I was shocked at Slater's reasoning saying he hasn't lived up to his form from last year when it's arguably been better. I would have had Sua on the bench. And yeah, I would have picked Cobbo on the wing, and Tulagi would have missed out. Even though I do think Murray will play well tomorrow. I'm not worried about him at all, but yeah, I would have had Cobbo on the wing.
No problems at all, Macca. Clancy, what are your thoughts?
Look, if I were picking the team last Sunday or whatever it was, I probably wouldn't have. I was really torn between the three wingers of Cobbo, Murray, and Coates. I actually think we're going to be pretty reliant on Talangi just to get out of the backfield. I think he's probably the strongest of the three on kick returns and in those early tackles, running back from kicks. I would have had Fafita, but at the same time, Cobbo at 17, I trust Billy that he's got a pretty good plan in place to use him. So I'm not too concerned that it's going to backfire on us. I don't think it's going to be like when New South Wales picked Crichton and they were stuck with someone they couldn't even use. I think there's a chance that maybe that spot was going to be Ponga's and they had a plan in place for that. And now they're confident that someone like Cobbo can, still fill that spot, or maybe they've gone on from that idea and they've gone for a bigger body that might be able to play in the middle, or even like sort of like a second back rower, or a center or a winger if someone goes down. So even though it probably wasn't in my head on last Sunday, I think, I trust Billy that he's going to execute that plan pretty well, and Cobbo's going to get a solid chunk of playing time. I don't think any of the other players are going to be reliant on doing anything more than they need to.
Nice, Clance. Nice. What are you thinking, Cormac?
Yeah, I would have had Fafita starting over Sua. I'm assuming Sua plays 80 or close to 80. Otherwise, we might be moving Potter into the second row when he comes off. But obviously Harry Grant and Ben Hunt will be on the field at the same time. They've done that they did that last year. So it's pretty good to have whichever one of them is in hooker. It doesn't really matter. You either got a third half or Harry Grant running around the middle. And then I think Cobbo's front on defense has been really good this year. So I don't think there's going to be any issue with him running through the middle. He's
a big enough body for sure to play in the middle. Yeah.
Quick,
Yeah,
some lovely.
I think barring injury, he's just going to play that classic utility lock role that the Roans have done in the past, like just come on in the middle, just run and try to take advantage of the lazy forwards, or not lazy forwards, the tired forwards. So I think that'll be the plan if there's no injury in the back line.
Yeah,
I think with those sorry, you go, Cormac.
Yeah, I was just going to say with Hopgood, I don't know if he provides much impact off the bench, to be honest, but he's got a good offload, I guess.
I think
about a Timmy Glasby role, sort of coming and shore up the middle, rather than.
I wouldn't be surprised if Hopgood starts at 13, Cotter moves to an edge, and maybe Sua doesn't start, and we have a second row on the bench, which we don't currently have, and then we move Cotter, give him 20, then move him into the middle of another stage of the game. I think that gives Hopgood a bit more, fluidity to maybe move around the field a bit, and maybe a bit later on in the game get his offload game going, which could really help us through the middle.
Yeah, no, far out, boys. We're all bloody agreeing on everything. There's no bloody debate on anything. No one wants to bloody, go into bat for someone else apart from, I guess, for Fafita. But I think most of us are.
Well, I saw
all
Bola had a question there about Dane Gagai, and I reckon Val sort of had a good few games leading up to getting picked, but Gagai has been very good this year. I was sort of getting excited to see him back.
Who do we reckon would have gone in that spot though? Are we saying Gagai comes back in, or would Cobbo slot in there? Obviously he's in the 17. Would he go into the centre?
He would
I
have
can.
gone
I can.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right about Gagai. His club form has been so good, as good as it's ever been, really. I think his defense, which was a bit of an issue in the past, has improved a lot. So if they didn't go for Biff Val and they picked Gagai, I reckon he would have had a blinder.
They could have been really set. They could have been really set on this utility on the bench and left someone who they thought maybe had a bit more, X factor out the back of shape, or who can play fullback sort of role, and they might have just gone Gagai straight into centre. I just think Gagai's been unlucky with Hammer, proving to be elite there.
Yeah, definitely.
You think it's that? It's not that he's looking at the next generation and that regardless of Gagai's form, he's going.
I've never really bought that. I think you pick the team that's going to win you, like the best chance of winning the game. Like I understand trying to blood a new generation. That's sort of what we did in Game 3 last year because we'd already had the series won. But when you're trying to win an Origin series, you just pick the team that's going to win it for you.
I get where Door's coming from though, because they did that with Welsh. Obviously, he could have come back in last year. They went the different route.
He could have come back in this year as well.
Exactly. And I think they've made it really clear what sort of player we want now. Like Welsh, he's been a great person for a number of years, but he's a bit behind now. He's just that one step behind in this game, I reckon. So, for Slater to make these hard calls, they would work last year. Walsh was a masterstroke. Hammer was. When they first came out, we go trust Slater that he knows what he's doing here, because Fafita, I've heard the rumors there may be miscommunication between him and Slater, and he's not really getting on the game of Slater's plan. So that's the rumors I am hearing, but you have to have Fafita in there as that, I reckon, as an impact player, even off the bench. He's going to change that game. That's the way I see it. You have to have your best 17 in there, and Fafita's 100% in our 17.
Yeah, he's their game too.
Yeah. Unless he's using him as a secret weapon, bring him in for game 2. But I think
there's no chance of that. I think
he'll get picked up.
No, he might get picked, but I don't think there's any thought in Slater's head going for this game 1. I'm going to bring him, not going to use him so we can use him again later. I don't think there's what I think it is purely is we've got this game plan, what players suit that game plan, and I think based on Billy's, what he's thought, Fafita doesn't fit that as well as someone like Sewer or no.
Sam, I'd love to get your opinion. Do you think, obviously, Sewer's come from the clouds. He's been in Origin before he's done it. Do you think he is the man to step into Fafita's spot this year?
If he's willing to take on Billy Slater's game plan, if what you said is true, then I do think that this is Sewer's best year in possibly 3 seasons or thereabouts. I do think he is in form. But it does come down to whether or not he's willing to accept the game plan for Fafita. Obviously, he's trying to rule the roost in a couple of different pens at the moment this season, if you know what I mean. I think Jaden Sewer can do the job. Kofusi, though, again, I was very impressed. Even though he's been injured for a little while, like a month, I think he was out for Felice Kofusi, or 2 weeks. I still would have chosen Kofusi, but no, I do think Sewer can do the job, man.
Absolutely. Sewer's definitely looking the best I've seen him since he was back straight out of school for the Broncos. He's looking in some really good shape. Fino's got him looking real good.
His physicality really suits Origin as well. He's so physical, and his defense has been really good as well, and he's also a damaging runner. So I think he basically offers what Fafita does, but maybe to a lesser degree.
Would any of you have been happy with Bo Firma getting a run off the bench? I think he had a bit of a slow start, but he's obviously coming off an ACL as well. But he has had some quite good games. He can cover center as well.
Yeah, maybe just misses out for me. I do rate Bo Firma, but I feel like he just missed out.
Yeah, I agree. He just missed out.
Yeah. I think the New South Wales, the Blues have a pretty obvious enforcer in Lenu, right? He's going to come off the bench, but he's sort of their man. Who's Queensland's enforcer? I guess it's Paddy Carrigan. Is he the man who
maybe Fodawaker's going to come on and
it's
play
got
that
to
role?
be Fodawaker. He's got to wind back the clock. He hasn't been in the greatest form this year for me personally, but I think he can definitely turn it on.
I actually think that I just think if that's how we're thinking, I think we're going down the wrong route there. I think they've got Haas, who is like one of the best at that job, just how like elusive he is with the ball and how dominant he is. I think a lot of them. I think a lot of the New South Wales players are going to be playing that role. So I think our whole forward pack needs to aim up.
I think we just need to understand, like, when we talk about losses, we've lost two very key important forwards here. Like, Tino and Flegler are massive losses. They've both been our go forward for a number of years now. Flegler really came into that role last year, I thought. Tino obviously been a stable there for a while. So I think the next mentality up is like what we've got here, but like we can't just replace Tino. It's the same as Cleary can't be replaced for New South Wales. They're going to have to go a different route with Nico. But for us, we just got to have Mo really step up. Like, Cotter's going to have to take on a lot more, even though he's done it all last year. I really think playing front row this year, he's going to have to pump out a good 70 minutes for us at least in the front row, which is a big call. Like, in Origin, it's a bit different to playing like NRL 80 minutes each week.
Yeah. No, that's fair. We should go through some other comments, boys. Who's a better all-time Origin player, Matt Scott or Matt Gillette?
Matt Scott.
Matt Scott, yeah. So that was good.
Yeah, he's a great player.
All right, I'm going to go opposite. I'm going to go Gillette. I honestly think he was one of the most underrated second rowers. In that period where we went 8 in a row, he obviously came in at the end, but his combination with like Thurston, obviously for most of it before Gavin Cooper came in, but I thought he was one of the most underrated. Defense was unreal. Attack had a great line. So I'm going to actually go Gillette on that one.
They're both outstanding players. Bence is saying Ezra over Dearden. Thoughts, lads? I guess we obviously sort of discussed that. Dearden's been there, done that before. Stepped up for us last year. Look, I'm a Broncos fan, and I've been very impressed with how Ezra has been performing, especially without Adam Reynolds the last few weeks. And then obviously Reynolds has been injury prone, so he's been in and out of it. But I just think even though the Cowboys went on that slump, I just think Dearden's done it before, and he's also done some things that definitely deserve, like that chase down in the chase down tackle was absolutely unbelievable. One of the best I've seen. I just think, look, as much as I'd love to see Ezra there, I reckon he'd do a good job. I think that Billy's definitely made the right choice with going with Dearden.
I think Dearden's defense as well, I think edges him out over Ezra. Like it's Ezra's obviously trying hard on defense, but it's if you have a weak link in Origin, they get exposed so quickly. I think Dearden's such a strong defender. I think he is probably really close though, honestly, because Ezra's attack has been really good. And with Munster out, it obviously give us more of the X factor that we might be lacking. But yeah, I agree with the Dearden pick.
The thing I've been hearing about, like, why we would pick Mam from people who want him is like that X factor, like high ceiling kind of thing. Whereas I think, like, Dearden's game in Game 3 2022, if that's your ceiling, that's, elite, and he's already done it once. So I don't really buy into that whole X factor ceiling kind of argument when one bloke's already had, been close to man of the match in Game 3 of a decider.
It's more the fact that his form hasn't been. His form coming into that game was a lot better than it was now. I think people are just worried that he won't capture that again. Whereas Ezra might be a safer bet on attack in terms of ceiling. But
I can definitely see the argument that Mam, if you want to say Mam's had a better season offensively, and that's why you pick him. That's got merit. But I do think Dearden's defense comes into it a fair bit.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
Boys, do
Everyone.
we agree that Kaufusi should be 18th man? Obviously, he only covers really second row. He can go in the front if he has to, but I feel like Ezra would be a good 18th man. Like, can cover the halves. Obviously, we've got Hunt there to go in, but he'll change our rotation for halves. Like, I feel like we're covered really everywhere else. Or are we in the opinion of just Kaufusi?
I think it's more of a culture move, hey? Like, how often an 18th man actually activated? Not that often. I think Billy just wants him in and around the boys. And
Bit of experience.
He still covers. Like, he can play middle, he can play edge. So his cover would be decent, but yeah, I think it's more for the culture aspect.
New South Wales possibly win last year if they activate their 18th man in game one. So
that's very true.
So I think it's just, again, back to how do they want to play. If Afita's not willing to be that guy and play the way that they want to, I think Kaufusi is a reasonable next guy in.
Yeah. Right, boys, let's power through these other questions here. Is Grant... Well, look, there's two parts to this question. Is Grant currently the most overrated player in the NRL?
No.
Yes, no?
No.
Okay.
Wait, you said one below his best half of the season. Yeah, I don't think so.
It's also his second year or first year of captaincy and probably like second season of trying to play big minutes, like 80 minutes every week.
Yeah, and their forward pack also isn't that great. So
no, yeah, that is a great point, Macca. The Storm's forward pack is definitely not as lethal as it used to be. A big question here from Corded. This is a really important point, actually, that we can discuss about the halves for each side is how important will a dominant kicking game tomorrow night in potentially wet conditions be? Look, I personally think having the DCE there, I think he can really step up there with his really elite kicking game. I think out of all the players there, I think that DCE's definitely got the best in-play kicking. Feel free to disagree with me, but I think that he's definitely out of the four players there, he's definitely the best.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you, man. The DCE, he's proven himself. Dearden, he's got a kicking game. Just haven't seen it a lot with North Queensland. Captain Chad usually takes over. Nico Hines and Luai are great, but I think we do have the edge. I think Queensland does definitely have the edge with Ben Hunt and Harry Grant. And as Boru said about 15 minutes ago, sort of thing, that Robson, he doesn't have a kicking game. Tedesco doesn't have one. And Reece Walsh, he can pump out a 40-20, man, even a freaking 30-10 if he freaking wanted to at a couple of times this season. So I definitely think we've got the edge on New South Wales in the kicking department.
Yeah, no, I think like you look at Hines has obviously improved his kicking game a lot. I've seen it personally myself that his kicking game's definitely improved a lot. But like you said, Sam, that's like huge to have those other options there that are really good in-game kickers. Any other thoughts on that, boys? Any other thoughts? Because obviously, like dominant kicking's huge because you're obviously, if you're getting a good kick, you're either putting it out, giving your forwards a rest, or you're putting it into the in goal. You're forcing a dropout, or you're keeping them inside their own 10, 20 meters, and that's where they're starting their set. So kicking game is a huge asset it's going to be a huge asset of tomorrow night's game. So, Clance, I know you want to say something so far away.
DCE, I think, like on kicking game alone, has won us games, especially 2022. Like, I actually think he dominated Cleary in 2 of those games with the boot, which it puts a lot of pressure on them, their kick returns, but also it frees up Grant and Hunt to, kick 40-20s or kick on the 3rd or 4th tackle, which has worked really well for us over the last, I'd say, probably 3 years.
I think the only really... Oh, you go, Gordy.
Just want to have a quick talk. Obviously, Grant and Hunt have shown in Origin for 40-20s. They're a big game changer. I think one thing that's gone underrated is Nico Hines is the leading 40-20 this year. He's got 3 already this year. I think we really need to watch for his early kicks because he has a good strike rate of getting 40-20s. He had a few last year as well to back it up. So if we're going to be applying pressure on Hines, I think we really need to watch the early kicks as well from him. Just
speaking of Hines for a bit, so many people are convinced that he's going to have a bad game. I think that's so unfounded.
Yep.
This is his first time playing starting with the Blues, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
He came on.
He was horribly used by Brad Fittler.
I think he's going to have an absolute blind on him. He's one of their players that I'm most concerned about. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not worried about the niggle.
No, I don't think he'd play if it was bothering him that much. So I don't think
he's kicking goals as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't reckon he will. I don't reckon he'll kick goals.
Do you reckon Lomax will kick him?
By the reports, it's going to be Lomax or Crichton. Lomax has been out, and there's been obviously Suoli in there as well. But I think they're going to play it safe with Hines and not risk him.
Well, Lomax is.
I heard he was kicking at training. I heard Hines was kicking at training yesterday.
He was. They were doing a shootout between the few of them, but from the reports were Lomax and Crichton are front runners because they just don't want to risk him. If he goes for one kick and does it, why? That's such a waste.
Yeah.
Surely, if he can play, he can kick a goal.
Well, he's going to be kicking in game most of the players. So
yeah. I think because Luai is a more dominant ball runner, not kicker. So
even though Luai has like this year,
it's been better than it's been a lot better. Back to his early years when he was.
He wants to
call back far away, bro.
To end that debate on 360, they spoke to that. Matt King, and he said Nico's kicking. But also, Macca, I just thought it was interesting from you to talk about Nico Hines, seeing a few years ago you said he flopped at the Sharks after a good system there at Storm. But yeah, I think Nico, he's obviously got a lot to prove. Unfortunately for him, whatever, I mean, it could work in his way if they win, but if they lose, it's probably going to be his fault.
We'll get blamed, yeah.
And he's lucky. So I hope he has a good game. But again, with the kicking stuff, because he's their main threat. Luai doesn't kick 40-20s. We're gonna have the room to pressure him a lot because there's no other real option.
Well, that's what I've heard. Billy said. Billy said that they because there's obviously been all this talk now that we're going to target Hines. I think Wardy said at the start about that's why he went with Sewer for his try scorer. Sewer on Hines. Look, the thing about it all to me is I really hate all the criticism and all this talk about Hines. Honestly, the guy's been in absolutely outstanding form this year. And look, apart from maybe this calf injury, and then all this stuff about, if we're having these talks about, if New South Wales lose, Hines is gone. Hines wasn't a lock. Everyone, us between us 6 here, we knew that we'd definitely pick Nico Hines in our side. What is with the media and New South Wales, the press with their agenda against Nico? Because for me, he was probably one of my first pick.
I think they blame him for that loss last year, honestly. And he's had the game against Penrith this year. Everyone's going, see, he can't play big games, but he just won against the Roosters, who are in outstanding form the week before, and he was the best player on the field. So I don't really buy that idea that he doesn't stand up for big games.
I think you already said it before. That look, Nico Hines was, I guess, responsible for letting Hammer absolutely flash him down the sideline there. But it was Brad Fittler that utilised him poorly. And obviously everyone last weekend or the week before had an eye on State of Origin, man. It wasn't surprising that Hines was brought off, man. So no, I'm happy with Hines being selected for sure, man. But I'm keen to see how Jerome Luai goes, man, especially when the pressure does get on Luai. I do think he stands up, and you just got to look to the World Cup with what he did with Samoa. You see what he did with Cronulla, against Cronulla, I should say, the week before, man. I'm really keen to see how Luai goes tomorrow night with Nico Hines, obviously.
Yeah, I initially had.
No, you go, yeah. I think with New South Wales, New South Wales fans say they're getting sick of hearing this shit, but I think the bottom line is they have more players to choose from, and everyone has their own opinion. So when someone gets selected, you know, there's a large majority of them who go, we should have picked this guy, and they go against their player. Whereas us with a bit of a smaller pool to pick from, we're sort of looking for a bit of a hero, and we, you know, want every player to do well, even if they weren't necessarily in our team. It's not like Dor with Marcus Harris, you know, when he plays in the Ashes or anything. So I just think we're like our players a bit more, to be honest with you. We don't get pissed off at players for getting selected.
Yeah. Well, I want to kind of go off two questions off Clancy's thing. Like, Hines, is he going to become the new Mitchell Pearce? Say they lose this year, is he going to become the guy that they just hate? Like, obviously, he has the pressure now, and I hate for him to get the tag that Mitchell did. Like, it was unfair. Mitchell came in when we had 8 in a row. Like, he's just horrid luck. But also, I've actually forgotten what now I'm going to say on the back of that. Our depth, is it going to be tested? If we have a few...
Yeah, that was a question coming up. Yeah, go for it.
Is the depth in Queensland a worry for forwards? I have no problems with backs and halves. I'm more worried about our front row.
It's always a worry for us, especially if there's a few injuries, because we have, like you saw it happen in 2020. But our luxury is that the people that come in just always step up. Like, you think like Ethan Lowe, who had a blinder that one game. Kurt Capewell when he came in. Tim Glasby, like all these guys that come in and they just play a lot better than they play in the NRL.
Corey Allen.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's definitely a worry, but I think we'll be right.
Who would you guys see as the next forwards up? Like, is there anyone that stands out to you?
Well, just to put it out there, just checking on NRL.com, Tom Flegler is reportedly due to come back from injury next weekend. So if he can get a game or two, Tom Flegler, he could come straight back in if he needs to be called upon. So Tom Flegler should be available in a week or two.
I heard he was gone for the season. So if he's back next week, that's huge.
Another player from the Dolphins, Maxi Plath, I think, has Origin written all over him.
Right, Dustin White.
Yeah, maybe not this year, but in the future, I think he can.
I think that the problem is, though, are we becoming too many 13s in the team? Like, he's an out-and-out 13, Hopgood. I have queries that he can play a prop role. Obviously, you got Carrigan, who I reckon can go into a prop, just play that role. Yeah, definitely. You got Cotter, obviously, already in starting prop. I just worry with Maxi that we're going to have too many 13s. We've already got Hunt and Grant sometimes both on at the same time. So we just need some big men just running and tackling. We don't need offloads. We don't need second phase out. I
think we're with those. I think if we were, let's say we were to lose 2 or 3 forwards, we would have to start going to some smokies, which I think some good ones would be like Frankie Molo from the Red V, I was thinking of Josh Kerr, who's actually been playing that role off the bench for the Dolphins really well.
What about Big Griffin Name?
He's a Kiwi.
Kiwi.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
I could have sworn he was Moran.
Someone did say Jensen, and I actually saw a stat that he is 97% tackle efficiency. So I would not hate that pick. He's not a big meter eater, but you know what you're going to get in defense from him.
He'll work his ass off.
100 meters for you.
And we're talking last resort. We're talking if we've got
Fafita's there as well.
Covers.
Yeah.
Fafita could easily play in the middle off the bench if we needed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a couple.
But Sam's played. Kafusi's played prop the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, Kafusi can play prop, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think Jensen would be my prop selection if I wanted to bring a prop in, and then Firma for me. I've been a big Firma man, like Clancy said. I'd be definitely happy for him to come in. Sorry, Sam, you far away, man.
Yeah, I just want to get your guys' opinions. Just
Yeah.
before we move on, I guess that we've got
We've
Zach
got more
Lomax
questions to get through.
Lomax and Joseph Suaalii. I'm pretty sure they're going to be going up against Murray Taulagi and Hammer. I'm pretty sure that's going to be the head-to-head battle. And then obviously on the other side is Stephen Crichton and Brian Toto versus Holmes and Coates. I guess it's more so directed at Zach Lomax. Zach Lomax versus Murray Taulagi. I think at times Taulagi and Hammer defensively can be lazy, maybe too harsh of a word, but they can have brain explosions. And if Zach Lomax, if he can bring in his form and his smooth hands as well, I think that is, I'm kind of worried. I've really got a massive eye on Zach Lomax, not so much Joseph Suaalii, because I do agree with you guys that Joseph Suaalii, I don't think he is warranted to be selected at all this year. I don't think he's been in proper form. And when you want to talk about him trying to get out of the danger zone, I haven't seen Suaalii do that for the Roosters this season. Maybe he's done it a few times, but I don't know what his carries are going to be like on the biggest stage in rugby league, man. He might get dragged back 20 meters at one stage. But I'm more so worried about Lomax, and then Crichton up against Valentine Holmes. Crichton has been good without being great this year, I think. And Valentine Holmes defensively has been, well, I mean, the other Cowboy co-hosts at the moment can confirm it with me as well and say that he's been absolutely wild defensively. And with Stephen Crichton on him, that is contentious as well. So what do we reckon about the backline edge battles and the head-to-head battles? What do we reckon?
Before anyone gets into it, I was just going to say that was sort of leading into my next question before I got onto a formal Q&As, is just the aerial threats. Like, you know, Lomax is like Taulagi will do a good job, but Lomax is serious threat. Like, he can roam anywhere. You've seen it for Redby. He's come into like fullback and they've done midfield bombs. We've obviously got our threat with, you know, Coates has been outstanding in the air this year. And Nanai is probably, he's one of the best second row forwards that I've seen ever under the, you know, catching the high ball and scoring so many tries. Just look back to his debut season and he just absolutely killed it from tries from kicks. But yeah, no, Sam, I am concerned. I think that I was talking to Maka de Sava and he was concerned as well. He can probably say his thoughts in a second, but I am very concerned about Zach Lomax in the air on the wing against, like you said, those players. And yeah, Val Holmes' defense, like I've been saying to you for weeks, has been, very ordinary. It's like easy to see how bad it's been. But look, I back him to step up tomorrow night. But yeah, if anyone else wants to go, Macca, if you want to take off, go for it.
Just want to speak about Val. He's been inconsistent defensively, but when he's on defensively, he's one of the best defensive centers in the league.
Good. Yeah.
So I'm just hoping that, like, back in Origin, he just stands up. Crichton, while Crichton's he's a good strong runner, I think Crichton's more been picked for his defense because he's probably the best defensive center in the NRL at the moment. Like, he rarely misses tackles, always makes the right reads. So yeah, I'm not too worried about Val, but I can see where he's coming from with his defensive issues at the moment.
I think with I don't think it would be a crazy statement to make saying that a lot of Val's issues have stemmed from the Cowboys' issues.
Yeah,
you know, Valame was on that left wing for a solid period of time, and he was bad defensively as well. And that whole side defensively has been poor. So, especially wide, they've struggled all year. So whether that's Val being bad or it's systematically it's falling apart, I think we can give Val some slack just because the Cowboys' defense has been so shit this year. The other thing is, I know you're my Cowboys brother, Wobbling Jaw, but I think I'm going to have to go into bat for Suaalii here because I'm the only one here who seems. Oh, Cormac might as well, but
Yeah.
I actually think physically on the field, apart from Haas, I would say he might be the most physically dominant presence on the field. Like, just his pure size and power. I'm concerned about.
He's like 6'5", isn't he? Like he's
huge, mate. He's massive. Quick.
He's so quick. Yeah.
He's made some really good reads this year defensively, like jamming in, and when he jams and he connects, he just like smashes. I thought he was going to be on the wing. I had him in the New South Wales team anyway. I'm not buying into Lomax. I think if he makes an error early, we could like expose him. But I like to.
He's a physical presence as well. Lomax, he's like a big guy.
Yeah,
he's
like,
that side off.
I disagree with the Lomax errors. I think they're out of his game almost on the wing. It's more when he's in centre, he does those flick passes and they're like that stupid stuff.
Yeah.
I think on the wing he'll be pretty disciplined. You don't buy him, do you?
I would have had Slady on the wing.
All right, well, we need to bloody kick on, or we're going to be here till bloody midnight because all of us can talk for hours. So let's push on. Try and keep the responses to as quick as possible if we can. If New South Wales lost, Mick is asking, but Teddy has a great game. Do they go with Teddy in game 2? Simple yes, no answer. What are we thinking?
I reckon they go to Deadwoods.
So they lose, they're going Deadwoods, even if Teddy has a good game?
Well, they picked Edwards in game 1 for a reason, right?
Edwards.
Everyone's happy with that, or does anyone?
I don't think Edwards would be ready game 2 by the sounds of it.
Okay.
I think you're pushing it. They're saying 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So if Teddy somewhat has I reckon an 8 out of 10 game, you'd be keeping him, especially if Edwards hasn't played a game for Panthers.
Let's say Teddy has a great game. This is a bit of an out there take of mine, but I would be scared shitless as a Maroon if they have Teddy or Edwards playing 14 coming on in the middle of the field. I like Teddy in the middle of the field, 50 minutes into the game, playing a 20-minute role at lock. I think that'd be hard.
Well, he basically plays like a lock anyway with the amount of runs he takes in the middle.
Yeah, and Edwards he works hard as well. If they would play him at 14, I think that'd be a dangerous mix.
All right, let's keep pushing on. As a John's just saying, as a New South Wales fan, I'm super happy. Hines is getting his chance; it's fully deserved, and I think we all agree with you on that one, John.
Yes.
Clancy, quick question to you. Grimesy's asking, with the proposed NRL expansion and the introduction of a PNG team, would it be a good idea if the NRL allowed Queensland and New South Wales to pick one PNG player in their team?
I don't think it would be a good idea. However, it would add something because I love the PNG players. I think they add a bit of, they've got an origin touch to them in the way they play. So, it would be cool. Maybe we could add a third team in and we could do it Queensland, New South Wales, PNG.
Yeah, we might have to do a bloody expansion live talk. But yeah, go. Sorry, Cormac.
Yeah.
Just with because I'm here in Melbourne and rugby league's growing a fair bit down here in participation with Sua Falongos from Melbourne. What happens if we start to get a few genuine stars of the game coming through Victoria and they've just got to sit on the sidelines and hope for an Australian pickup?
I think it's the same as it's tough luck. It's the same as any international player. The Kiwis have to sit out. The English have to sit out. I think it's just the same as that. This has been a rivalry for 30 plus 40 years now. So Victoria's way off even being considered in a conversation for that when we probably have maybe 2 NRL players from Victoria.
Maybe they could verse someone else. Victoria verse I don't know.
Jeez, it'd be
territory.
Yeah.
It would be
Victoria.
North Queensland.
In saying that though, it does raise a good point. I'll move on for this pretty quick, but it does raise a good point.
Yeah.
Like the AFL are really targeting an area in the Western Corridor where the NRL don't have a team. The Brisbane Lions have moved out there right now. Melbourne is obviously a stronghold for AFL as well. Will the NRL start maybe
trying to find some things, whether it's in WA or another team in Melbourne or something like that where they can fight that back they need to probably start doing something.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
think Melbourne's just a stronghold for AFL and never change.
Well, Cormac, you're in Melbourne. What are people's thoughts on the NRL, like in general?
There's a bit of an unknown, but it is like there's genuinely with
excitement
the sort
for
of superstars at the moment and Pappenhausen. When you got stars down here, like Melburnians watch, but because the Rebels are gone out of rugby union now, union is just fading away, and league's just going to take those players. So I think because there's a fair few Melbourne players who play rugby union. So if they start switching at a young age to league, then it's obviously never going to be a competitor with AFL. But to have it grow here would be pretty good for the game, because we need to start making ground because AFL are doing it for league. So they should capitalise on the loss of the Rebels and the decline of union.
Boys, I got a question for all of you. Is that right?
Yeah, go, Wardy.
I've just gone and got the average meters for both back threes. Toto's 202, Lomax 182, Teddy 169, against Walsh 148, Murray 164, and Coates 125. Is that a worry for us? They average so much more meters out of their back end, those three. Obviously, Coates is always a worry. You don't know if you're going to get much from him really in out of our defense. Is that a worry, or are we okay with that?
I think their back five is going to be a bit better than us coming out of their own line, to be honest. I think that's an advantage they have over us.
Someone like
I think it's always been a
Coates,
problem. You go, Clancy.
Someone like Coates, I think, while his numbers aren't massive in terms of meters per game, I think the runs themselves are still pretty high quality. He takes some really tough runs for Melbourne when they're deep in their own half. So I think just, sometimes those numbers, obviously they do say a lot, but they can. I think Coates is a good example of someone who does take some quality runs, whether it's even though he ends up on 120 odd meters per game.
I think that it's the Queensland, Coates himself has really improved. I think that asset or aspect of his game, taking those tough carries. But look, let's be real here. I think New South Wales, their back three of such for the past fair few seasons have really dominated that sort of statistic. You look at Walsh isn't really that type of guy. He doesn't really. He can if he has to, but he's not really that type of player. He's a completely different type of player to someone like Tedesco. Toto's been a machine for years. And just look at the end of the day, it is a concern, Wardy, but I think that you just look at how Origin's panned out the past few seasons, and I think that we can be reassured that that it's not that much of a concern.
I'm just worried. In previous years, we've had a forward pack. We've had a forward pack that has got us to the front foot continuously with Tino, Flegler. I'm worried with our bench and stuff that we just need more from those guys at the back. Murray and Coates really have to put in some extra yards. Holmes and Hammer, obviously, they've got to get involved as well. I just feel like we need it more this year than we have in previous years because we could rely on our forward pack.
Yeah, I think
that's a fair comment.
Yeah, go for it in general. Go for it in general. Someone like Hopgood off the bench, for example, isn't really classic go forward type of middle. He's more of a skills based, pass out the back, offload. So I think Wardy raises a good point. We're going to need a lot from Val. I think he's going to have to take a lot of runs. Yeah. Hammer definitely. Clancy makes a good point about Coates as well. While his total numbers might not be that great, he still takes some tough runs and he's hard to get down. I'm not too concerned about him.
The other thing is as well with even though their back three have been big meter eaters, they've added two centers to that now, which are big. I suppose they've added Suwali. Crichton's not. Well, he's a threat there. They've actually got a whole another player there that can get out of the backfield really efficiently. So we got one more to deal with.
All right, let's keep pushing on. All right, predictions for player of the series, boys. Just quickly, probably I'll go first. I think it's going to be Walshy. I know it's a bit of Broncos bias, but I think that he can be the man to open up the game. You've just seen it plenty of times the last few seasons since he's come to the Broncos. A big reason why we made the grand final. You just get him against tired forwards on the edge or through the middle. That second phase play, he's so quick. He just runs past or, through or on the outside, basically, of a lot of players. And I just think he can open up the series and be that real X factor that gets the Maroons the series win. What are you thinking, Sammy?
I'm going to go Tom Dearden. I'm going to go Tom Dearden as the player of the series.
Yep. Woody?
I'm going to go Paddy. Obviously, Queensland bias. I just think he leads from the front for us. But I'm just going to chuck it in there. If the Blues are a sniff, I honestly reckon it comes down to the centers. I reckon Crichton, he's going to have a big one. He needs to step up for these guys. So I'm going to throw Crichton in there if it goes the Blues' way.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Macca?
I'm going to go Ruben Cotter. I think he's almost like a point of difference for us. Like massive minutes, the quick play the balls. I think if we win the series, he's going to be close to our best player.
Nice, Macca. Yeah, Cotter's been outstanding for Queensland the past few seasons. Clance, what are you thinking?
I think that the way New South Wales is going to play, I think they're going to try and get into a real arm wrestle with us. And I do back us to have a bit too much class just to get over the top of them. But I think if we're going to win, someone like Paddy Carrigan will need to be our guy in the middle in possibly low-scoring games, dominating like the tackle count and the run meters and all that hard work stuff. And I think that'll probably get him over the line. I agree with Macca as well. Cotter could be that guy too.
Yep. Lovely. Cormac?
I think usually in Queensland when we give it to a forward, so I think after missing it last year, probably had a fair stake at it was Lindsay Collins. So I reckon Lindsay chips away at it again this year. And
I haven't really spoken about Lindsay, have we?
No. Yeah, he's a guy.
No, but
yeah,
I think that's one of the great forward plays, wasn't it, in State of Origin history, that jump over Tedesco to catch the ball and then the offload for the try. Everyone ran to Collins, not to bloody Munster, who scored. It was an outstanding play from Collins. We better keep pushing on, boys. We've only been talking for an hour and 17, but look, we'll keep pushing. Is the forward bench, the 4 forward bench for New South Wales a gamble that is worth the risk? I think we sort of touched on that a bit earlier about, discussing when we were talking about Appy and that. But do you boys just quickly have any concern with the New South Wales going with that 4 forward bench? Because they have done it before and it hasn't worked. And they've obviously gone back to it. We think it's going to work this year, or?
It's a bit different to what they've previously done. They've normally gone for a massive bench, and this time they've gone for a more mobile bench.
Mobile, yep.
Yep, and it really comes down to how Hudson Young can fit in that centre role if they need him. But I think what they've done's quite smart.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree. I think they need to have a utility on the bench. I think they're just missing cover there. If someone goes down, I will be targeting whoever gets put in the centres because I don't trust any of them to be in a good spot for the centres. So I would be having Burton come on tomorrow in the last hour, taking Hudson Young out of the team. I just think they've got too many second rollers in that team.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. Wobblin, you want to add anything, or?
Yeah, I apologize. I can't remember who did mention it before, but yeah, I do think that the Blues interchange does have a bigger forward pack, or interchange, I should say, in comparison to our interchange for sure, man. But but we'll see what happens with Selvin Cobbo.
Don't think it's a risk having the 4 forwards?
No, not at all, man. Not at all. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, no, that's we'll keep on pushing on. Fantasy Supercoach question, is SJ a hold? I think if you've held him this long, surely you've got to hold him for one more week. He should be back next week. Plays the second major bye round. Anyone else think that he's
I've got him.
not a? You got him? You holding?
Yeah, I'll have to now because my team's just been getting injured week after week.
I sold him last week. I'm glad I did. I don't think he plays next week. I honestly think he's probably out for a few more weeks. And I think the Warriors, if they get another win this week, they're just not going to risk it. They got the Cowboys this week. It's a big game. Obviously, you don't know who's going to back up for the Cowboys. So if they get a win there, I don't see SJ playing next week. So I'd be selling. He's not in the next bye round. It's not worth it.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Fair, good points. Metho or Ethan is asking, how do you think that To'o will cope under the high ball? Any concerns there against, obviously To'o, very small, strong player. Do we think that there's potentially a chance that, Coates is Coates, Sam, did you say earlier, is on To'o or?
Coates will be on To'o, yeah.
Yeah, so do we think that it's a concern for New South Wales? How do we think that To'o is going to cope under the high ball?
He's been doing fantastically for 4 years, man. And crossfield kicks for Coates over the top of To'o. Surely they've got to try it at least once in this game, man. Surely.
I think just quickly before sorry, Woody. I was just going to say, I just think that we've been I think in previous seasons it's such an advantage for us, the height difference and Coates' ability in the air. I feel like in previous seasons we haven't actually used that advantage basically enough. Like we've maybe gone to it, like Sam was just saying, like a couple of times rather than a lot of times. Obviously there's a fair bit of background noise which is getting a few boys laughing, but no, but the Coates, I think, could have a field day, and I think that we really need to target it more than we do, especially the same with Nanai. I think that the Blues are going to look to Lomax as well, like the Dragons have most of this season, under the high ball, whether it's in the middle of the field, like I discussed earlier, or on the edge. But yeah, I think that, like Sam said, To'o's been doing a terrific job for many years, but I think that we just need to use that to our advantage a bit more, because I think that like Coates would actually have gone better in the air over To'o if we used it more often than we are. What were you going to say, Woody, though? You wanted to say something?
I was going to agree with that. Yes, we should use it more often, but I think To'o's shown it. He can handle this stage. There isn't many that he's out-leaped and lost it. So I think from previous years, you just got to take it that's what you get from him. He's not a big guy. He's not going to be leaping over anyone, but he's going to do the job for them.
Also, I feel like every single year, one of the teams is like, look at our tall wingers. Like, I think literally every year this happens, and it feels like it never changes the game.
Well, I feel like Origin's such a scramble. Origin's such a scramble sometimes. Like, it's hard to actually execute that kick across. Like, it might happen once in a game, maybe.
The only thing that's changed this year is that goal line dropout rule, where the dropouts just aren't as valuable as they used to be. So maybe crossfield kicks will be the go-to as opposed to kicking it into the in goal.
Yeah,
I guess quickly we should touch on. Sorry, Woody. I was just going to say we should quickly touch on the whole rule that is really hurting the game at the moment, like the diffuser and all that sort of rubbish. That is honestly, I think it's really killing the kick and the contest. I we think it's going to be officiated like it has this year, or is there going to be some leniency? Because I really hope that they that we can really contest the ball and play, you know, how it has been all these years, because I personally absolutely hate the rule.
Yeah.
The
I
issue
don't-
is
I
there's
don't-
leniency now. It's like there's leniency now, and they don't do the same call week on week. So it's the game,
And we
like
gotta-
literally in a game, they do different calls, and that's what kills it, not the actual rule. I don't think.
I agree. Like there is just no consistency right now. But the thing we got to remember is its origin. It's viewed from millions of more people than just the NRL game is. So you just got to look at previous games. Penalties aren't given as freely as they are in the NRL. They try to get the game keep going. So I feel like this rule is just not going to exist in State of Origin, because what's the point of putting the ball up and having a contest if they're just going to call a penalty on the person just running through? Like, I hate the rule. It's one of the rules I absolutely hate.
Sam, any input?
No, I was just thinking then, man, I'm trying to remember back to last season, and if we've got sort of like international rules, like are there 6 agains in State of Origin, or is it like there's no?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Full.
Yeah.
So
I don't think they don't use international rules for State of Origin. I thought they used NRL rules because it's not technically like an international game.
The only reason why I got me wires crossed is because the women's State of Origin, they didn't have 6 agains in their game, where it was just penalties.
Okay.
So I was just trying to that's what happened the other week. So I'm just trying to remember if it was a thing last year. Anyway,
Cormac, fire.
Yeah, I was just going to say the diffuser is shocking, but the pressure rule, where if you like touch their leg after they kick, I hope they're leaning on that. Like that Harry Grant sin binning a few weeks ago was like the worst call I've ever seen.
Diabolical to say the least, Cormac.
I think maybe that was good that's happened, so that they won't do anything like that again. But I think like we need to keep pressure, obviously. You know, Origin.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering on another thing when it comes to kicks. Will the short dropout be a thing in this? Are we thinking they're going to play it? Obviously, it's a lot of risk. Or are they just going to send it deep and rely on their defense?
I just send it deep, rely on the defense. Unless it's, you know, like it's the situation where you're behind the game. You and I both, Wardy, I'm really not going to touch on this very much, but you and I witnessed it firsthand in Sydney last year, how the short dropout absolutely destroyed our chances of winning the grand final. Constant failures from doing it. I just think in this sort of arena, unless you're as I said, like unless you're basically behind the game and you need to, you know, get the ball back, I think you're just kicking it long. Like if you're down 6-0 or whatever and there's still 70 minutes to play, I think you're just kicking it long and backing your defense. No, all agree? Okay,
I agree.
we'll move on. Oh, yeah. All right. Just quickly, finally, how do you think the possible wet weather will play into each team's game plan? Who would it suit? Who do we think that the wet weather sort of game plan would suit? I personally think that I don't know, for me, I'm leaning towards the Maroons slightly, just because I feel like I'm sorry, Macca, to pick on Lomax again, but I just feel like that. Yeah, there's just a couple of, like Lomax especially can be known for just throwing that pass that's either like, you know, unnecessary or something like that. I just feel like our forward pack, we don't really have, which is a bit of a concern actually, is we not really had got that many offload threats in our 13. Hopgood is obviously an exceptional offloader, second phase player. Off the bench, but I feel like that could, Crichton's been unbelievable with offloads. Haas has been getting very improving out of sight with his offload game. I just think that it's going to suit us slightly. But what do you boys think?
Our kicking game is probably a little bit better, so that might suit us in that facet. But I feel like their meat advantage in the wet might be better than ours, so I feel like it could be even. I feel like where the footy will be even for both of us. So yeah, not too
Anything
sure.
quickly from the others?
I just think kicking
Clancy,
game's essential.
Yeah.
Kicking game's going to become really essential from my lines. And then obviously we've got a few options for us. So I think for us, we're going to have that. But I think the wet weather actually helps New South Wales forwards. I think it's going to create a contest in the middle. Obviously, a lot of boys slipping and sliding around if it is wet. I just think Haas, Linu, they're going to carve that up.
Yeah,
Anything else? Anyone? No. Yeah.
I agree with that. Their outside backs and their big forwards are going to be hard to handle in the wet.
I think that's really it. The Cormac's obviously disappeared. Feel free, boys, if you have to go or need to go, you can leave as well. Sammy and I will keep kicking on because we do have a NRLW to talk about. We have harped on a little bit about the NRL here, but boys, I think a lot of we've answered basically all the questions here that we've been put in. Basically, let's just cut to the chase. Who have we got? Well, obviously, the followers would have seen our predictions, but have your predictions changed since we posted that yesterday? I personally am still going with my thoughts. I think the Maroons get it done with Walsh being the man of the match. Can't remember exactly what I said for my score line. I'll have to double check now. I said 24-20 to the Maroons tomorrow night. I think that even though Origin defensively normally stands up, I think just this year the defense standard has been a bit subpar to previous seasons. So, yeah, I'm going Maroons.
No worries, man.
Sammy, you want to go?
Yeah. No, I'm going Maroons as well. 20 points to 16. And I think our enforcer, Pat Carrigan, he'll be the difference and he'll be my man of the match tomorrow.
Yeah. No. Wardy?
I had 26-14 to the Maroons with Paddy as man of the match, but I just want to run up a little stat. The last 3 wins that Queensland has in Sydney, the biggest margin is 6 points. We've got a 6 point, a 1 point, and a 2 point. So it looks like they enjoy a close game down in Sydney. So I'm a bit worried about my margin.
Yeah. Macca?
Yeah, look, fellas, I hate to say it, but I actually think the Blues will win tomorrow. I think it'll be.
Wow, that is the hot take for the night.
Yeah, well, as I've been saying all night, I really like the team I picked. We're missing Munster, Tino. They're at home. I think it'll be very close. I'm just worried the Blues will just get us. Hope not, obviously, but yeah, that's my concern.
Nice, Macca. Clancy?
I'm about this close to picking the Blues, but I'm going Queensland 19-18. Pat Carrigan, man of the match.
Who's kicking the field goal? Val, DCE? Who we got?
DCE. Unless
DCE?
unless it's 2018 and Val kicks one from 45. That's the other option.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I feel you. I guess last thing before, if you guys want to take off, is stay on if you want to, as we touch on the NRLW quickly. But obviously, their State of Origin game 2, the Maroons need to get up. But last thing I wanted to talk about before, if you need to go, is just with the Origin. Is it losing its the hype? I just feel like the build up to the game has just not been the same as other years. Like obviously we had Gallen and other people. Obviously there was reported that he was paid to say some of those comments, but like the 2-headed stuff and all that sort of rubbish. I really miss that sort of stuff. What are your thoughts on the build up to this game tomorrow night?
I don't think the hype's died down, but I do agree that the build up isn't as effectively marketed. Maybe I see what you mean, but
yeah,
isn't the viewership as high as it's ever been?
Yeah, viewership's been good. I just more just the build up and whatnot.
Yeah, build up.
For me, it's just been Edwards is injured. Okay, and then now like Teddy's coming in, and there hasn't really been any like barbs thrown from
Well, door could
side to
change
side.
tomorrow morning. Could all change.
It could. Oh, I'd love it, mate. I'd love to wake up to some barbs thrown across the border tomorrow. But yeah, I just miss that. That's all.
I think I'm all like just going to step in. I think the coach's mentality, and you look at both our captains now. They're not those sort of players. They're the more humble sort of players. They're not like they don't come out. We haven't had an interview from Spencer Lino. We haven't had one from like one of our boys like Collins. Like they're the people that you expect something to come out from, like they did back in the day. Like I think the injuries has really like killed the mood for both sides this year. But there's definitely like the ads. There's not much ads. Like I couldn't tell you any ads I've seen for it really, besides the one before like Channel 9 footy. Like I just remember growing up as a kid, there was so much on the walls, on the buses, everywhere. You'd see it, and I just don't think we have it this year.
I think the injury.
It was like you go.
I think the injuries is one thing, and also I think the guy this year would have been Spencer Lenu, and we were all looking at him to do something, but obviously that racism thing that happened at the start of the season, I think would make him really gun shy at the moment. He's probably the only one. He's probably the only one in these teams that is a bit.
Well, they're all kind of friends with each other as well now. Like it's not as much of a like we hate you sort of thing as it used to be.
Also, Jake Trbojevic is captain. Like,
the happiest guy alive.
You're not going to get anything out of DCE really. So it needs to be these players. They're just selecting these players, and Lenu was, I think, going to be that guy. But obviously he's doesn't want to go down there. Although he did say if he sees anything maroon, he's going to do something or something like that. So hopefully he does come. Hopefully he does come out and say something a bit, go at us a bit. Then we can go back.
Fights are saying Luai, Clance. Could you see him saying something?
Yeah, he's the one.
I did see something today that he's put away the boombox and is now a leader of the team. So maybe he's gone for a different image.
Madge just banned the boombox. That was his first point of call.
Let's throw some elbows then at Luai. If he wants to be some kind of leader, I'm happy to throw some elbows and maybe get into him, see if he really is that sort of bloke. So.
All right, boys. Well, look, it's been a pleasure. If you want to stay along for a bit of NRLW chat, feel free. But if you need to go, just be on your way. But appreciate you being here for it. If you need to go, so be it. But we are going to push on to game 2 on Thursday night, should I say, down at the Hunter, McDonald Jones Stadium. A sold-out crowd, Sam. Like, we got a huge crowd for game 1. Up at Suncorp, a record, and now they're going down there for game 2 and a sellout. Like it, outstanding for the women's game.
It's brilliant. It is genuinely brilliant. At the moment on Sportsbet, the Sky Blues are $1.45. The Maroons are $2.75. And look, I'd love to give you stats and history and all that jazz, but we're in unprecedented times in the Women's State of Origin arena. Like, this is the first ever trilogy, and this is the biggest Origin game in the women's arena ever. This Thursday night, man. So I'm keen. I'm really, really keen for it.
Yeah. Do you agree with the odds?
Or maybe Maroons could be in a little bit more, but hey, man, if there's more value on the Maroons, I'll freaking take it any day, bro.
Do you think they're a chance after their performance in game 1?
Well, get into the team list, mate, and we'll talk about it.
Yeah. Well, does the other boys got any thoughts on it?
Boys,
on the game?
I'm not big on the stats and side. I just enjoy watching the game, so I'm going to jump out. But I just want to give a little shout out, Mackenzie Wheel on the Maroons bench. She's a former Mount Maria student, one of the alumni for us. So a little shout out. She got a debut last game, and now hopefully she's on to bigger and bigger things now in the front row. So a little shout out for her.
Yeah. No, thanks for being here, Woody. Appreciate it, mate.
No problem. Good night, boys.
Nice meeting you, Woody.
See you later.
See you, Woody.
I did watch the first NRLW Origin game. That Blues winger, she's an absolute gun. Like, I can't remember her name, but the way
Jamie
she was
Chapman.
running was just, she's
Yeah,
She was insane.
that was one of
so
the
good.
great NRLW tries. I thought that run was unbelievable. Clance, you look like you got something to say. What do you think?
I think the big change is Brigginshaw back to 7, and they've got, can't remember this girl's last name, but new 13 in.
Look,
yeah.
Sam, how do you pronounce it? I'd go to you, but I'd say Lofipo, is it?
Lafipo,
yeah.
There you go.
She's pretty dynamic in the middle of the field, and I've never been like Brigginshaw's been moved to 13 a fair bit recently. It didn't really work for the. I think she played there for the Broncos for a period as well, and it didn't work. I just think put her to 7 where she fits and get a forward in there to, she's going to be ball dominant anyway at 7. I don't really think you need her being that link person in the middle of the field.
Yeah, no,
so
that is fair. Yep. All right, we're going the Blues team. They're basically unchanged after the game 1. Baxter and Pearson are still in the halves. Chapman, obviously, like Macca was saying, scored that terrific try. She's still on the wing. And the Cowboys' new signing of Ja'Kai Whitfield is on the 18th man. So we got Tonegado at the back, Chapman and Penatani on the wings, Sturgis and Kelly in the centers, Baxter and Pearson in the halves, Millie Elliott and Caitlin Johnston at prop, Olivia Higgins at hooker, Kezi Apps and Yasmin Clydesdale in the second row, Keely Davis at lock, Fui Maiano is 14 on the bench, Kernick, I believe, is how you pronounce it, is also on the bench with Kemp and Toga Tuki, I believe is how you pronounce it. Sam, what are your thoughts on that team? Obviously an unchanged lineup from game 1. They were obviously very dominant. Looking back, I'm pretty sure it was Caitlin Johnston was absolutely outstanding. Her size was just, and utilized her perfectly close to the line. And she was, just too big, too strong, and crossed over for some, you'd say soft tries, but you've got to give her credit for the strength and the power of the run.
1,000%, mate. They started like a house on fire. Unfortunately, the Maroons were like a deer in the headlights, knowing that was their first ever game at Suncorp Stadium. But the second rowers of Clydesdale, Kezi Apps, they were enormous for the Blues as well, or the Sky Blues, I should say, man. And then it was backed up with huge performances by Olivia Kernick as well, man. Look, the big question coming into that first game was Corbin Baxter as 5'8" and Rachel Pearson in at halfback. Everyone went, what? Why? And they proved everyone wrong, man. They were fantastic. But as you said before, as the boys were saying before, Jamie Chapman, man, just was untouchable that evening.
Yeah. Clance, you got any thoughts on that Blues team?
This will be the last thing before I duck off. I just think that if they run the ball the way they did and Queensland miss as many tackles as they did, I don't think Queensland can win. So, but if they
a lot of tackles,
there's so many tackles. If they can turn that around, I think Queensland are in with a real good shot. But they just let too many scoring opportunities from every single part of the field that we were lucky to. What was it? 24 points we let in, I think. So, I think we were lucky to let in 24. And if they don't fix that up, we won't win. But it's definitely
22
22
points they scored, and we scored 12. 22-12.
Yeah. It would have been close if Menzelman goes up, puts that ball down. So they weren't too far off, but at the same time they were.
You've started, Sam. Clancy. Oh
no. Anyway.
Keep it in, brother. Keep it in.
Yeah, it was tough to watch. Unlucky. All right, I'll catch you later, boys.
All right.
See you, Clancy.
Pleasure.
Catch up.
Yeah. No. So that was obviously heartbreaking with the Manzelman decision and all that. But look, man, is there anything else we really need to touch on with this New South Wales team? Obviously, they were very strong in game 1. But is there anything you want to touch on? You go.
No, look, again, I just want to reiterate, mate, that we all were talking about the Queensland Maroons playing pretty much 3/4 of a season of the BMD Premiership, and that we thought the Sky Blues would come in rusty. And it was anything but, mate. It was genuinely jaw-dropping how fast and hard they started that game up at Suncorp, mate. And again, just someone like a Jessica Surgis, who was playing her first game since the month of September, just went absolutely buck wild, mate. So no, look, why change a good thing?
Yeah, like Clancy said before he left, like I'm looking at the stats here from game one, and just the missed tackles for us. Like New South Wales missed 20 and we missed 37. Like it was such a big deal. Like, obviously Origin games are always normally very close, and to be missing that amount of tackles, like Clancy said, you're not going to be winning any games if you're missing 37 tackles, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But everything else is pretty close. Possession was close. Obviously New South Wales, just that, like you touched on, man, like that Baxter and Pearson combination in the halves. They obviously, like you look at it, they dominated the line breaks, 6 line breaks to 1 in favor of New South Wales. They nearly doubled us in tackle breaks. Look, that's where really the game had been won. Obviously both sides maybe a bit rusty and, a bit of nerves in that big arena. Didn't complete it the best. I think they both had like 14 and 13 errors, respectively. Look, with time and possession was very close. So look, like, if the Maroons fix their defense up, man, they could be a chance. We'll go through their team in a second. But anything else you want to add on to what I've just discussed?
No, mate. No, let's go into the Maroons.
Yeah, let's go for it. I think someone in the chat is Flats is saying, where is my fish of the week, Emily Bass? I'm pretty sure she is injured. Is that correct? Yeah. Correct. So unfortunately, Emily is out with injury. Just quickly, Sam, before I go into that Maroons team, Aiden's asking, I have 7 trades left. Am I fucked? Look, you're in some trouble. I wouldn't say you're fucked, but you're in some trouble, my friend. So I wish you all the best saving those trades till round 20. But look, let's get into this Maroons team. Just quickly touch on the changes. Like Clancy said, Brigginshaw back to halfback in place of Zahara Tamara. Look, Clancy, Sam can say her name. Who's in at lock again, Sammy boy?
Sienna Lafipo.
Yep. So Lafipo shifts to lock, and Emata Paki joins the bench. With Lauren Brown moving to the centers. I actually don't mind Lauren Brown moving to the centers. With Ivana, is how you pronounce that last name, Sam? Is it Polite or Paulette or
Ivania Politi?
Politi, yeah, to cover, as we said. So Bass being out with the shoulder injury, so Ivana moves to the wing to cover her. So obviously the Tamika Upton at fullback, Robinson and Polite on the bench, Zolka and Brown in the centres, Aiken and Brigginshaw in the halves, Matto and Elliston at props. Pull me up, Sam, if I pronounce any of these wrong. Destiny Brill in at hooker, Tasman Rapana and Teitzel, Romy Teitzel is in the second row, and Lafipo, is it? Oh, I've probably, yep, Lafipo.
No, you're right.
Yeah, is in at lock. We've got Sammy's favourite NRLW player, Emma Manzulin, in at hooker. Mackenzie Wheel, as Wardy touched on before he departed, is on the bench as well with Sophie Hollyman, and Imata Paki is the 17. Sam, what are your thoughts on it, man?
So there's a couple of things, man. So the big one is that Zahara Temera has dropped out to be jersey number 18 in this game. I thought Temera had an okay B&D Premiership campaign. And Taryn Aiken, I guess she missed about 3 weeks there, and she was pretty deadly. So I think in desperate situations, you've got to take some drastic measures. And so to have Brigginshaw go back into the halfback, I think it was Clancy, maybe it was Wardy, but I think it was Clancy that was saying before that that Ali Brigginshaw just put her in her natural
Yeah.
position. It
Clancy,
has
yep.
really. I know the Maroons won last year, the series, but just keep Brigginshaw in a natural position in at halfback, and that they're a proven combination, Taryn Aiken and Brigginshaw. Sienna Lafipo making her Queensland debut this Thursday, mate. She's definitely got the
Excited.
ball skills, man. And she's got, I don't want to say size, but she's definitely got the power behind her. I think her power and her strength is underrated, which is a positive in her game. And then Lauren Brown, obviously it was something that needed to be done. But to have Lauren Brown in at centre, and this might be bias, I don't want it to come across as bias, but I think someone like Jasmine Peters, who has absolutely destroyed it in the BND Premiership this season, I thought she was right at that door to be selected for State of Origin. But then again, it is a decider sort of thing. Game 2, series on the line. I guess you got to just go with someone a little bit more experienced in the Origin arena. And Lauren Brown, I'm pretty certain she has played centre, but not for a long time. So she's definitely been selected to play at centre for her defensive capabilities as well. And just she's an extra option for a kicking game as well. And just a little bit more guidance out there. So Lauren Brown's in for an absolutely enormous game this Thursday night, to be honest. And then the final one, and look, I don't think she will get dropped, but jersey 17, Emanita Paki, it's like a Selwyn Cobbo selection, but I don't know. When you've got the likes of Keely Joseph in the reserves and then your Skylar Adams, I don't know. Emanita Paki put it this way for me. She's been known to have played centre. She is a half for the Central Queensland Capras this year. That team, even though she has played admirably, that team won the wooden spoon in 2024 in the Premiership. So for her to be selected, obviously I didn't watch all the Capras games. I didn't watch many Capras games, but reading the stats, she did do well. But for her to be selected in a big Origin game like this, which is quote unquote a decider, I do find it a massive risk. Excuse me. I do think it's a massive risk.
Yeah, I was just going to come back at you, and you think that there's potential that she comes on and goes to the centres with Lauren Brown going like back to the bench at some point throughout the game.
No, I don't.
Or how do you think she's going to be utilised?
No, I don't think it would be for Lauren Brown, Dor. I think it would be for Sienna Lafipo.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not too sure how Lafipo's motive would be. She is definitely a 70-minute player, but I think Lafipo, she's on debut herself. Maybe Paki would have to come on for the final 10 minutes or so and see how the youngster goes, sort of thing. Then again, she may not even get onto the paddock. Coach Tani Norris may not say give her the green light. I'll tell you just quickly who I thought was supremely underrated for the Maroons in game one. I thought Romy Teitzel worked her backside off to the bone, bro. Teitzel was outstanding. But I think her mate in the second row, Tasman Rapana, she was destructive last year. Unfortunately, she's only had the 1 or 2 games in the Queensland Cup, and I think not O's, but I think she's got to have herself a big game down there down in Newcastle this Thursday. So, Teitzel, you continue doing your thing, but Rapana, I'm anticipating it, and I think that she needs to have herself a bigger game than what she produced in game number 1, Dor.
Yeah, no, that is fair. I was just Keely Joseph, she missed game 1 through injury, correct?
Correct.
I find it hard to believe that if she's fit, that she isn't in the 17 somewhere.
That's what I'm saying, mate. It's just Do you pop on Emanita Paki for Sienna Lafipo, or you just have Emanita Paki on for just backup in case a centre goes down or a winger goes down? Paki's got that experience, and it's sort of the same conversation with Selwyn Cobbo, but with Keely Joseph, mate, she was the woman of the match in game number 1 last year, and I think she was one of the better players in that 2-game series. So Keely Joseph is an absolute boulder of destruction. So look, there's a chance that she will jump over the top of Temera and be that jersey 17. But yeah, as I said before, Paki, it's a wild decision. It's a left field decision.
Yeah.
And look, I got to back it because I'm a Maroon supporter. I definitely wouldn't have been the one making that decision though.
Would you say it's more left field than Cobbo?
Oh, yes, I absolutely would, mate. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'd be picking Joseph over Paki on the bench. I just think that, like you said, she's been there, done it before. Obviously, player of the match in last year in that game 1. You were saying. So I just think, and we've obviously seen her be very dominant or a force in the NRLW over the past, few seasons at least. But look, something that I think the Maroons can lean on a bit and might help us is our superstar in Upton. Being at home, obviously it's an away game. It's going to be, very rowdy down there at Newcastle. They're very passionate fans, as you can see, turned out in the absolutely pissing down rain last week for the Knights versus the Bulldogs. Going to be a big crowd there on Thursday night, obviously sold out. But Upton, playing on a home field, I really think it can help. It can be a big factor for us. And look, obviously there's a lot of pressure on her. She's a bit like Reece Walsh, that game breaker for us. But I think obviously we need to fix up our defense firstly, which I think we can. But I think Upton is going to be a big reason if we are to win, is like that's going to be the reason why we're going to have an Upton special.
I think that's a fantastic point that I didn't even really think about till just then, mate, that Upton is playing at a home ground, so to speak, mate. And again, I think Upton defensively, I think she got caught out and I think she looked a little bit slow in that first half in game number 1, man, which is super, super surprising. And then she obviously scored her try in the second half, man. But yeah, I thought Upton was definitely off her game. And she's another one that's played in this Central Queensland Capras team that won the Wooden Spoon in 2024. So, yeah, man, it maybe it was just a step up. It's such a step up in class that it just caught her off guard a bit. But then again, she's that elite that it shouldn't have bothered her in the first place, sort of thing. But yeah, that actually now gives me a fair bit of confidence now in the Maroons, knowing that this is sort of her home ground to make it up. Then that's a great point.
Yeah. No, I just think that's a big thing that can really help us. On Thursday night. Anything else, mate? Like before we get into our predictions, anything else you want to touch on potentially from the team, some stats or anything like that?
Well, look, mate, I'll ask you the question, and it also gives me an excuse to talk about her, and you probably already know where I'm going. So Destiny Brill, mate, and Emma Manselman as our hooking, combo. Destiny Brill was okay, I guess. Again, that the entire team was just so flat in that first half, man, that you can't really 100%. Say that anyone was great. And then Emma Manselman came on and changed the game. And that's not the first time she's done it for either Queensland or for the Jillaroos. And what would you do, mate? Would you start Emma Manselman, or do you think maybe just that worry of her coming on with 20 minutes to play is just it could prove to be too vital to not utilize, if that makes sense?
Yeah, look, it's a really good question, Sam. Like you can look at it like there's two ways to look at it really. Like you can see why they're playing Brill and they want to bring on Manselman against the tired players, with her speed and versatility out of dummy half. But then you can also like you can see why they're obviously, the other way around if they started Manselman and then brought on Brill, like that, that bigger body, that strength at in the, close to the line for the Maroons could definitely be utilized. I think Manselman definitely needs more minutes than she played in game one. I'm
Yep.
pretty sure if I just check now. So Brill played 50 minutes and Manselman only played 20. Look, I'd personally like to see. Obviously, it wastes a few interchanges, so you'd have to be mindful of that. But I think you'd start Manselman and play her for the first, I'd say, like 30 minutes or something.
Yep.
Then bring on Brill to, finish off the like 5 minutes or whatever. Let's say 25 minutes. I'd say play Manselman 25 minutes in the to start us off. Then
Yep.
play, then play
Brill.
Brill either side of the first and second half. So, finish
Yep.
off the 10. And then I'd say give her, I don't know, another maybe till like 15 minutes to go, and then bring Manselman back on right at the end. I know it's obviously using a few changes, but I think that could be like really beneficial because I think you can't have a caliber of Emma Manselman playing 20 minutes. I know as there's a bit of concern with her health if she's 100%, but look, I think that
Yeah.
I think that that's how I would like. Obviously, you could also play, Brill. She is big enough and potentially to play lock, but like like the Maroons, the men do with Ben Hunt there at some point. They might have Grant Hunt and Grant on the field at the same time. But look, that's how I would work it personally. What are your thoughts?
It's definitely look, I think Emma Manselman at least needs to have 5 more minutes on the paddock. So I don't disagree with your opinion on that or idea, but I think Manselman does need to have a few more minutes. Maybe not quite cut in half for both Brill and Manselman, but there's got to be more minutes for Manselman. And just on a different note as well, looking at the interchanges, through a Mayono, utility, that makes sense. Then Kernick, Kemp, and Togatuki. And then you look over to the interchange for Queensland. It's Manselman and then Wheel and Hollyman and then Packy. Like, with all due respect to Packy, like she has been an under-19s Queensland representative in the past. So she's obviously got a fair scoop of
the talent.
She's got a scoop of Milo about her, mate. And I don't know, man. I think when you factor in Caitlin Johnston and Millie Elliott and Kezi Apps, I'll tell you what, mate. If Keely Joseph is ready to rock and roll, Miss Packy, for me personally, I think she would have to be pulled because I think we just need we need just a little bit more size to combat that elite forward pack of the New South Wales Sky Blues, man.
Yeah, no, that's what you basically like with that Packy and Joseph swap. Like, no disrespect to Packy or not saying that she doesn't deserve to be there. I just think that, like you said, I think that Joseph more suits, or fits that spot. I think to be able to match those players, like you said, the Elliots, the Johnstons, the Kezi Apps, I think that Keely Joseph just would suit our side a bit better than Packy, me personally, and obviously you as well. But no, I agree. I agree with you, man. It's just, for me, it really comes down, like Clancy said, it comes down to our defense, bro. We have to show that, that Maroon ticker and really defend our line with all we have. Obviously, there's no ifs or buts, there's no second chance. This is it. It's do or die rugby league. You lose, it's over. Obviously, this is the first time that there's 3 games for the women's state of origin, and thank bloody Christ that they went to 3 games, because I hated the 2-game thing last year, and there was obviously a lot of backlash from it, because obviously New South Wales, I'm pretty sure, won the game up in North Queensland, but then they obviously lost due to aggregate. So I'm just so glad that the NRLW and the NRL have given this the women this three game series, because it is well deserving of one.
1,000%, mate. You know my point of view, bro, and I'm right there with you.
Yeah. No, bro. All right. Well, yeah. We've got to stop Johnston, bro. We have to stop Johnston.
I know.
It is. I'm like, she is the. How am I the men's like sort of like that? Oh, like that Payne Haas. Like she's that X factor for the Blues forward pack. That's just that. Now, I'm not saying that, like Turbo, Cotter, and Collins aren't to the level of Haas. I just think that there's that different sort of X factor with Haas to those players, and I think that's the same with Johnston. Obviously, she's a big body, but wow, she's got some speed and strength as well to go with that, and that's why the Blues, I just thought those set plays for her were just absolutely outstanding. And look, honestly, it's very hard to stop her close with those set plays. So yeah, look, if we get to our tips, man, what are you thinking? You can go first for once, because I seem to always be leading tonight. So you can go first, my friend.
Yeah, look, man, I'm going to back Maroons, man. I'm going to back the Maroons. It's going to be an almighty task, though, because this Sky Blues side, I really do think that I took them way too lightly. But again, I'm more weary of it, but I'm still going to back the Maroons. They're going to be a little bit embarrassed by what they ditched up in game number 1. I love your theory, your thought on Tamika Upton. And now that she's got one more game under the belt, watch her do her thing. Lauren Brown on the field for 70 minutes does give us just another option offensively. Brigginshaw, the immortal of the women's game, just about what will be a future female immortal. She's back in a natural position, so they should improve. It's just that back row of Rapina, Teitzel, and Lefipo. Teitzel, if she continues doing her thing, great. But Rapina and Lefipo, those are the 2 women that need to really go hell for leather. Yep. And then just the other interchange. So no, it might sound like I'm just taking the mickey and giving a biased tip, but can't help it, mate. I'm tipping the Maroons to win. I think that they can do it. We've seen stranger things, and I think they'll win by a scoreline. They've got to be so defensively resolved, mate. But we're not saying Sky Blues are going to go 0. I'm going to say that they win 18 points to 14 on Thursday night. And for an anytime try scorer, I'm going to trust that Rapina does go berserk, and I'm going to say Tasman Rapina goes over for an anytime try scorer.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, that's good. Good thoughts, Semi. That's like, are you basing your decision with the Maroons? Do you think that it's helped you with like, no disrespect to Zahara Tamara, but do you think that your decision has been made a bit clearer to stick with the Maroons now that Brigginshaw's gone back to her preferred, or her position where she's done the most damage?
I think so, man. I did mention it before, bro, but yes, I do think that does help my decision. And the fact that Tamara didn't quite, even though she is the incumbent, she didn't quite come into the game in her highest quality form, to be honest, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I do think Ali Brigginshaw being at halfback definitely helps, and and it helps me tip Maroons this Thursday.
Yeah, no, look, I'm concerned, Sam. I am concerned. I am wearing all maroon. I am a Maroons fan, but I am concerned that that blue side is, you know, they, as you said, touched on as well, they have really, really surprised with us all, really, and probably a lot of pundits with how they turned up in game one, especially that first half. Oh, look, yeah, I want to, and I hope that that the Maroons can get the job done. I will be tipping the Maroons, but look, I'm tipping the Maroons from heart. I am concerned with the Blues, especially down there in enemy territory with a full sold out crowd. You know, depending, it could be wet conditions as well. Yeah, but I'm gonna go the Maroons. I'm gonna have Upton as my player of the match. And I'm thinking that the Maroons, I think the defense will be a lot better. Obviously, it's going to be tough. Like if it's wet, then that that might not be the case. Like there might be a lot of missed tackles because it's obviously, you know, in the wet, everyone's, you know, very slippery and bloody hard to tackle. So, but I'm gonna go 14-12 to the Maroons.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a close game, and for any time try scorer. Or anytime try scorer, I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with my girl. I'm gonna go with Julia Robinson. I know it's probably not paying very much, but I think she went close. Or did she go over? Now I'm trying to know. She didn't go over in game one, but I think she went close a couple of times. So I'm thinking that Julia gets over for a try, and the Maroons get it done 14-12. But man, I'm not confident with it. It's more my heart speaking with that tip, man.
Likewise.
Just with how New South Wales played in game one. John's saying, what are we thinking of Clydesdale first try scorer for the Blues, Sammy? What are we thinking?
Oh, Clydesdale is
not a bad shout.
No, it's Koenig. No, it's not a bad shout at all, man. No, she's starting, mate. It's not a bad shout at all.
Yeah, she did play very well in game one, 162 run meters for Clydesdale. So
she won the woman of the match, mate.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm looking at these stats as well, which has got me even more worried, is like the run meters. But obviously, you know, we touched on earlier with the stats, like 6 line breaks to 1. New South Wales were obviously making the more meters, and that dominant first half displayed that. Bro. Let's hope I think that's, buddy, look, honestly, it has gone for 2 hours and 12 minutes. I said to Sam when we were starting this that it was going to go for hopefully 45 minutes to an hour. But as we do, we bloody start talking and we get invested, and then, you know, trying to keep the chat involved and everything like that. And it's bloody gone well and truly overtime. If you stayed with us, John, you've been here for a lot of it, mate. We really do appreciate it. And anyone else that goes and listens to it or watches it at a later date, I'll put it up on Spotify probably tonight or tomorrow morning. But no, mate, it has been an absolute pleasure. Let's hope that the Maroons can get it done. And for your sake, that Gerbo maybe crosses over for a first-time try scorer at $91, mate. It'd be absolutely unbelievable if that came off, and I will be clipping it and putting it up on the socials if it does happen, man.
Mate,
outstanding.
If it gets up, I will be unbearable. I'll be absolutely unbearable, mate.
Are you gonna put 5 on, man? Are you gonna put something on now?
I'll put 10. No, I'm putting 10 on.
Oh.
You put 10 on, and you get $910 back, mate. So
yeah,
mate.
So
I'll be buying you around.
Stick to your word.
Yeah,
that's
bloody
right,
right. I'll take a screenshot. I'll take a screenshot and put it up. But look, obviously not just myself, but obviously the rest of the gentlemen that I met for the first time tonight. They're all a part of the All Out Club universe, and that was the first time I ever collaborated with those gentlemen, and I hope I do so again. Every one of them was great to meet, and I hope their tips get up as well. But it was great to meet them, and it was great to.
Well, they can't all get up, Sam.
Well,
let's be their tips, Ken, but they're their first time try scorer. You can't.
the tips.
We need
Yeah.
you need Gerbo to score. You need we appreciate their options, but and my option, but you're wanting your anytime try scorer. It's got the most meat on the bone out of all the options that we gave. So,
Yeah.
but no, man, I really do appreciate you coming on. Look, if you're still here, obviously, if you don't follow Sam already, make sure you go and give Sam a follow. He's on Instagram. I tagged him on the Instagram story, and also he's on the tip sheet as well. I think a couple of pages in. So yeah, go follow Sammy on Instagram and YouTube as well. Sam, tell you, obviously we're looking at potentially doing some commentary together down the line. But what else you do on your channel? Obviously, very following the Cutters and the BMD Premiership very strongly, as well as your Cowboys. But here, promote your page, man. Give you some time.
WobblinJawSports on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and I just release my tips on a weekly basis. I follow the women's game vehemently, so I cover both of those universes. And I'm just a diehard Cowboys fan, but I talk about every team predominantly North Queensland, but I talk about every team. So, and what Dor just alluded to just then was that next Thursday we're thinking about collaborating to bring a commentary live stream with Sharks versus Dolphins. So stay tuned for that one. And if you want to come over and subscribe, I'd very much appreciate that. Getting close-ish to 2,000 subscribers. I think I'm at about 1,827 at the moment. So getting close to 2K.
Get him to. We got to get him to 2K. Got to get him to 2K. So yeah.
But again, thank you very much for the opportunity tonight, Tor. Seriously, no, I've enjoyed it, mate. Thank you.
No, man, well, far out. I'm just glad we got there in the end. Like, obviously, we've had a few issues doing the podcast this afternoon. I wasn't originally going to be on it. Then I ended up being on it. Then there was issues, so I couldn't get here. So we were supposed to record this earlier. But no, it's now 16 past 11 Brisbane time, and Sam and I are still yapping about rugby league. So, look, appreciate everyone that came again. Obviously, if you don't follow or subscribe to the All Out Club or All Out NRL Fantasy, we're basically on everything under the sun: TikTok, Facebook,
just down
Instagram.
below.
Yeah. Instagram's the main one. Like, you got any questions, whether it be NRL wise, fantasy wise, whatever, man, just hit us up. Obviously, I probably watch the women's game more than the other boys do. Obviously, Mick didn't join us. He was in the comments, but Mick was before we went live was was here, but he was in the comments commenting most of the night. But he's one of the what is there, buddy? 5 of us. So yeah, no, the other boys, obviously you've seen Clancy Macca, Cormax have been called up before. He was very excited about being on tonight. I appreciate them all jumping on. But no, man, go Queenslander, up the Maroons. But yeah, no, if you support the Blues, best of luck. But I just don't think tomorrow night will be your night. And no, we'll be back again for definitely a preview for Game 2 for sure. If Sam's down, I'm down. So we'll definitely do another preview for Game 2. And then obviously Game 3 for the NRLW as well. Hopefully we can be a bit more precise and not carry on for 2 hours and 18 minutes. But look, I wouldn't take that 2 hours and 18 minutes back. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. So no, thank you, Sam, and we'll see you all next time. Oh.